All right, family, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Glad to see everybody out for another blessed and holy Sabbath day. Good to see y'all. You know what I mean? It's always good to be in the house of the Most High, gathering together with the Most High's people, having a holy convocation as always. Definitely a refreshing thing, a refreshing time to come together each and every Sabbath day as we're supposed to do. So let's just use the time to uplift the Most High and bring the Most High all the honor, all the glory that is deserving unto Him, because without the Most High, we wouldn't be here. He woke us up this morning. You know what I mean? We have health, we have the breath of life, we have our families, we have, you know what I mean, many things going good. Let's focus on the positive all the time. Let's be able to build together the way we planning to do, put these different plans into play. You know what I mean? And really be able to make some righteous strides in the earth today, to be the people that the Most High Yah called us to be. You know what I mean? A chosen and a blessed nation of people, and show forth His praises and showing forth, you know what I mean, the righteousness that the Almighty called us to be. You know, that's what we're here to do. And don't let anything stand in our way. You know, one can put 1,000 in flight, two can put 10,000 in flight. So you see the power in numbers, the power in us coming together in a unified force for righteousness' sake. You know what I mean? It's all for righteousness' sake. Everything we do got to be for righteousness' sake. So again, definitely glad to see y'all in the building today. So as always, let's blow the shofar and let's get everything going with the blowing of the shofar. Yo, Cheyenne?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Hello.
Been a while.
It's all good. Yeah. Let's go ahead and rise for prayer, y'all. Face our homeland, Jerusalem. Somebody want to inform them over there that we're getting ready to pray? Let all minds be clear, all hearts clear. Read out to me if you will. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Let your will be done.
Let your will be done.
On earth,
As
it is in heaven.
it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
Forgive us for our debt,
Forgive us for our debts.
as we forgive our debtors.
We forgive our debtors.
Lead us not into temptation,
Lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
the power,
the power,
the glory,
the glory,
forever.
forever.
Almighty Yahweh, we give you thanks as we come before you, humble, as we come before you as the children of Israel, to celebrate, to sanctify, to give all honor, all praise to you on this set apart Shabbat day, this glorious day that you have given us to be a day that sets us apart, to be a day that we may know that you are the Almighty that brought us out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, with a strong arm. Father, Yahweh, we just give you thanks. We ask that you forgive us for the sins that we committed. And not only the sins that we committed in times past, but also the sins that we omitted. Father, Yah, we just ask that you pour knowledge, wisdom, and understanding into our minds, into our hearts, into our souls. Father, Yah, just let everything be pleasing in your sight as we continue to strive to do your will each and every day. Father Yah, you have given us 6 working days, but you have given us a Shabbat to be able to rest, to be able to give you praise, to be able to reverence you, to be able to honor you and lift your name up on high. Father Yah, we will sing praises on this day. We will extol your name. We will stomp on the adversary. We will continue, Father Yah, to be able to be a reflection, Father Yah, to continue to be a reflection, to be able to let the people know, let the Gentiles know that we are your children, Father Yah, and we are made in your image. Father Yah, we just give you thanks and all honor, and we give you these praises and thanks in your Son's name, who you sent to die for the remission of our sins, which is Yahweh Shah. And we ask that you forgive us once again, Father Yah. And we ask all these things in your Son's name, Yahweh Shah, and we say, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right, so everybody can turn their scriptures open to Exodus chapter 20, reading of the 10 Commandments. Exodus chapter 20, and I'll read verses 1 through 17. I'll wait on y'all to get there.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, everybody there? All right. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh the Elohim, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other idols before me. You should not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. You should not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You should not take the name of Yahweh your Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy or set apart. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it you should not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee. You should not kill. You should not commit adultery. You should not steal. You should not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You should not covet thy neighbor's house. You should not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Reading of the 10 Commandments. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hey, real quick, before we go into the next segment, at my job over at the car lot, right? We have what you call a program where when we buy the vehicles, the shippers, they'll call you and be like, hey, we'll pick up your vehicle or whatnot for this price or whatever the case may be. So yesterday we had a guy that called and he was like super like antsy over the phone, like, man, I can get the car, I can pick it up tomorrow, and I can drop it off to you Monday. Now it's a long week, so I'm not realizing that tomorrow is the Shabbat. I mean, you know how you work the long weekend and forgot your days and all of that. So he's like, yeah, I can do it for this price. So he threw like a super low price out there. And just at that moment, right, I had forgot about the law. That your manservant and maidservant, right, they are not to be working as well. Even if they don't keep the law. If it's something that's helping your business, your occupation, you have to put everything on hold. You can't be like, it ain't me working, but it's them. And he said he'll drop it off on Monday, right? And we usually pay him upon delivery or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, I called him back because I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, oh, this is a cheap price and all of that. So everything kind of went out the window, right? So I want everybody to just realize when the Most High gives us these laws, we can forget. That's why with this particular law, he said, remember the Shabbat day, right? And when we stand up, I need somebody to show me the border of blue fringes. So when we walking around with these fringes on, right? That's what that's supposed to do to you. You're supposed to be able to look at them and remember the commandments. But guess what? We have fallen as a nation. We're not walking around in our communities like we used to with these fringes on, right? With these border of blue fringes on to be a remembrance. Because I guarantee you, if I would have seen that, I would have instantly thought like the commandments. Shabbat day, can't do it. But we don't have that as a reminder constantly. So that's a testimony as well. Like if we're gonna be working with our people, amongst our people that know this truth, we got to be holding each other accountable. Like, hey man, just wear your fringes today for me, please. Let's just wear them for each other so that we can always remember to keep the laws. Because guess what? If I wouldn't have called him back, he would have been picking up a vehicle today. And guess who that would have fell on? Me. And we don't realize that stuff though. Because we moving so fast and stuff like that, we don't realize it. But then, like I said, since it stood up with the border of blue, a lot of people really don't believe that that's a remembrance or a reminder. But it is. It really is. Not to look down at your own and say, remember the commandments, but to also look at your neighbor and say, I see him dangling. We got to keep the laws. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there because it was just like, man, like, it almost got me. And that's how the adversary can get you within the blink of an eye. Right then and there, you done broke the law. Unknowingly. So.
Yeah, good testimony.
I got a question. Does the not working part of like cleaning?
That'd be it.
Does those part of like cleaning like around the house or something?
Yep.
Could be anything like that. Anything. It is big.
Kind of put out like some feedback. Yeah, I heard it. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to share. Like, you know, that's why I love what we have at Israel now. You know, we can hold each other accountable without even speaking. You know, we let the spirit convict you. You know, we let the law convict you.
So the only work we want to do on the Sabbath day is one or two things. Is work that is work for the Most High. We do that work. You know what I mean? Meaning, you know, whatever we got to do to keep the commandments, whatever we got to do to keep the Sabbath day and different things like that. The law says the Sabbath is a feast. So we should have food. We should prepare the food before the Sabbath, not cook it on the Sabbath. Like even me teaching, like some people get paid to teach. So in a sense, this is work, you know what I mean? But it's work for the Most High. It's good work, you know what I mean? Also, the other type of good work we can do is anything like humanitarian type of work. Right. We have, you know, going out teaching the word, teaching the truth, but we have people who are physically unable to take care of themselves. You know what I mean? So if you have a person that's in that state and you need to take care of them, you know, they basic daily needs. Some people can't. You know, I used to work in a nursing home years ago. Some people can't get up and actually do basic needs for themselves. We need people to do that. The Almighty don't want the people to go suffering. You know what I mean? So that type of work, you know, you can do is good work. You know what I mean? That's what the Messiah said when he said, you know, it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath day. But besides that, anything humanitarian, anything is like saving lives or helping people in that type of aspect, not helping people as far as going cutting their grass or nothing like that. You know what I mean? That's the work that we can do on the Sabbath. Outside of that, we don't do any work on the Sabbath. And then, you know, it's all about preparing and getting to the place where, you know what I mean, we recognize we're in captivity, we prepare and get to the place where we don't have to work on the Sabbath. New people just finding out about it, you try to make different transitions where you don't have to do it. So that's how it works.
All right, so what we got up there? Numbers 27.
27.
All right, let's go ahead and Go to the next segment, to a portion. Numbers 27.
You got 23.
23 verses. All right, hallelujah. We'll chop that up. I can do maybe down to 12, yeah. Anybody want to volunteer? I can read down to verse 12.
I'll read the
Anybody?
rest.
Read the rest? All right, hallelujah. All right. The book of Numbers, chapter 27 and verse number 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. And these are the names of his daughters: Malah, Noah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes, and all the congregation, and by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Our father died in the wilderness, and he was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahweh, in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin, and had no sons. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family? Because he has no son? Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father. And Moshe brought their cause before Yahweh. Verse 6. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren. And thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a man die and have no son, then ye shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. And if he have no daughter, then ye shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he have no brethren, then he shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then he shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman that is next to him of his family. And he shall possess it, and it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Verse 12. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Get thee up into this mountain, Abarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel.
Verse 13. And when thou hast seen it, thou shalt be gathered unto thy people as Aaron thy brother was gathered. For ye rebelled against my commandments in the desert of Zin, in the strife of the congregations, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses spake unto Yahweh, saying, Let Yahweh, the Elohim of spirits, of the spirit of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, which may lead them out, which may bring them in, that the congregation of Yahweh may not be as sheep which have no shepherd. And Yahweh said unto Moshe, Take thee Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hands upon him, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight. And thou shalt put some of thy honor upon him, and all the congregation of children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the prince, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before Yahweh. And at his word shall they go out, and at his word shall they come in, both he and all the children of Israel, with even all the congregation. And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded him, and he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the prince and before all the congregation. And he laid his hands upon him and gave the charge as Yahweh commanded by the hands of Moshe.
Hallelujah.
That was powerful.
Hallelujah.
Dang, so the inheritance,
That's a lot happened right there.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because no matter what, the Most High ain't letting that inheritance go outside of Israel.
Right.
If he ain't got no sons, give it to his father's son, and so on and so like. That's powerful, man. That's powerful.
Because the narrative in Israel a lot of times is like the woman don't get nothing, regardless. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is sort of about something in life. Like, hold on. Like, if ain't no brothers there, then she get that. You know what I'm saying? So.
You get that.
Good thing they had spoke up though. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
previously they didn't
Right.
get anything
Right.
until they spoke up, and the Most High said, "Yeah, they right. If there ain't no brothers, then give it to the daughters. If there ain't no sons, then give it to the daughters." You know. So yeah, that's good. And we stay in Israel. But then we know also that the Almighty put in place the year of Jubilee, which corrects all of that. So if somehow it got out of the tribe that the family line is supposed to be in, when the 50th year comes, it all go back to the rightful tribe and the rightful every 50 years. So it's a beautiful thing. So therefore, we can never be in the situation that we are now in America. Like we find ourselves in America right now. You know what I mean? All of our neighborhoods, we don't own anything in the neighborhoods. You know what I mean? We don't own none of the stores, none of the businesses, none of that. All other nations own it. But back in ancient Israel, even if another nation was to come there and start buying up stuff and this and that, we look around like, man, they owning everything. Where it's only gonna last to the year of Jubilee. And everything come back to each tribe, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was a good thing. Yeah. All right, so I guess from here we'll move on to current events. What do we have for current events? I actually started out with this. Let y'all think about whatever y'all want to talk about, do whatever. I know we had, I think somebody mentioned it maybe a week or two ago. No, I think it's only about a week old. But the sister Dana actually brought in the news, the article from the Cincinnati Enquirer, which I don't know if everybody's saying this or not, but it was about, what is this, like a week old, maybe 10 days, something like that, maybe about a week old. Okay, so you know the whole thing that went on with what happened in what's that, Washington D.C. with the Covington Catholic, and then the different Israelites on the streets teaching and stuff like that. You don't know about it. All right, well, they were talking about it a lot on TV, radio, stuff like that. So anyway, it's a group of Israelites, the House of Israel. The House of Israel, I think they're based out of New York. And so they got congregations all over. I think they was in like Washington, D.C., out on the streets teaching at some event or whatever. And at the same time, the high school Covington Catholic was took a tour there for whatever reason. You know, they was in the same spot. So these brothers out there teaching, they, you know, pretty much was doing their regular teaching and stuff. You know what I mean? It was Native Americans there, the white Catholic high school kids there, and there was these Israelites there. And so I guess they got into a small little confrontation or whatever. And but what stemmed out of that was a whole lot of things on the media. They interviewed Israelite brother on Fox News and just different things about it, where they kind of portrayed us as a like as a cult or a hate group or something like that. But so that's what inspired, I guess, Cincinnati Enquirer to like do a you know, an article on Israelites, and they talked to some Israelites in the city. I actually know this sister and this brother on the page. They're both Old Testament only though. But when you read the article, they didn't paint it in that type of light. I didn't read the whole thing, but I did like read some parts and skip through it. They didn't paint it a good thing as like a you know, a hate group or anything like that, or any type of terrorist group or anything like that. They actually, you know, pretty much painted okay, and they took their perspective. Like, you know, we just turned it back to who we were as a people before y'all brought our ancestors to the shores of America. And that's it. That's pretty much all it is. And we turned it back to the Most High, and we found out that these scriptures is about us.
Right.
So we start keeping the commandments. We start loving each other. We start coming together, and not the culture that we have in America, which is to hate each other and tear each other down, but to keep these commandments. You know, and if you interpret that as hate, you know, then maybe you the one showing hate. You know what I mean? Now, of course, as in every group, you have everybody don't think and believe in the exact same way. You know, for example, we can take Christianity, which have millions of people. Don't you know the KKK is a branch of Christianity? But they hate, but we don't measure every Christian by the KKK standards. Likewise, we realize that Israelites is a nation of people, and some Israelites that know that Israel do hate white people, and some Israelites that know that Israel don't hate white people. Some Israelites that know they Israel believe in the Messiah. Some that know they Israel don't believe in the Messiah. So you can't put us all in one box. You know what I mean? So just to kind of just bring this out, y'all can check out the article. We'll have it here. You know what I mean? Y'all can check it out. We'll break. You want to read through it, just see what was said. So for what I say, they didn't paint it in a bad light, like a terrorist group or anything like that. Which, of course, we know we're not. We're just teaching the truth that the Almighty gave to us. You know, but we gotta kind of turn this perspective of our people, because it's like when a lot of people hear the term Israelite or Black Hebrew Israelite, which they try to say in the media, they think of something negative. They think of something like, oh, this is bad, something I might not want to get into, stuff like that. But they don't know just about everybody you read about in the scriptures would be considered a Black Hebrew Israelite. Moses was a Hebrew Israelite, and he was Black. The Messiah was Black, and he was a Hebrew Israelite. Paul was Black, he was a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I mean? So we got to be able to make that connection to the people. You know what I mean? That this is not nothing but, you know, we are proclaiming the same thing that every other people is trying to proclaim upon the earth. Their true nationality, their true heritage, and turn back to their own culture, their own land, their own everything, you know?
Right.
So that's pretty much it. But I'm gonna bring out something concerning that.
Nah, it just sounds like to me like the more and more we wake up, the more and more they get angry. You know, and try to stir up a whole, you know, dispute. Like y'all really a hate group. But it's like, no, we're just waking up to who we are. You can't get mad because the Most High is starting to reveal these things to us. You know, and we just speaking it with passion. That's all it is. Yeah. True. Y'all want me to read some of the article, I guess?
We have the mic.
I want me to read a little bit of the article. Check it out. What we got, okay. So it's titled Black Jewish Groups Hate is Not Our Aim, right? It says that this is, how you pronounce his name, Mark?
Yashikar.
Yashikar, all right, Mori Yashikar of the Nation of Israel reads his Bible. It said he follows teachings of the Old Testament. So as the brother was saying, it says right here, focus is on saving African people. Of course, you know we're not African, but it says many of Cincinnati's Black Jews have a message for outsiders, and this is what he quote. He said, "Hate is nowhere near our aim," said Otis L. Stevens, 56, a contractor who grew up in a near South Cumminsville, or in and near South Cumminsville. He quoted, "We don't teach it. We don't agree with those tactics." It says, like Judaism, Christianity, and other religious traditions, Afro-Judaism has subsets of faith communities. It says sometimes with disordant beliefs. It says Stevens' community, the Nation of Israel, represents one subset that believes African Americans are of the 12 tribes of Israel. And of course, it got some more stuff in here. We could probably just pass it around later on or whatnot, but I don't know. Just sound like to me that, you know, it just seemed like to me that, you know, they just upset with us waking up to our heritage, waking up to who we are as a people. Ain't nothing they can do about it. You know, nothing they can do about it. Anybody else got anything on this? If you know anything else on this, or if you got anything to bring out as far as current events, feel free to do so now.
Never hold your peace.
Yeah.
All right. So
Now that happened like a few weeks ago, right?
yeah, it was right after the brew out. So
Okay, because I remember seeing that.
a week ago. So you know, pretty good that it wasn't a negative thing. So you know, that's all good.
Oh, that, yeah.
'Cause that's one of the things that you know that hinders our people from coming into the truth when we try to come to our people. You know what I mean? And they think in their mind, once they find out we know that we're Israel, they think of a negative thing. So we gotta try to spin that thing. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
sometimes they just turn you off and don't listen to you. Like, oh, you're Israelite. I see it on TV that that's a hate group. I don't want to hear. I don't want nothing to do about that.
Exactly.
But everybody in your book is a Hebrew Israelite that you say is a prophet. Jeremiah, Isaiah, Moses, Ezekiel. You know what I mean? Paul, Peter, Yahushua. You know, but they don't make that connection. So.
Right.
All right, so y'all got anything else y'all want to bring up as far as this current events, what's going on?
Moria?
No.
I just wanted to comment on that. To me, it just kind of seemed like they're just trying to set it up to where we can continually be against each other. Like, if we don't really realize, like, that's what they're doing.
Right. Willie Lynch letter is still in play. It never stopped. Yep. They always divided us. Willie Lynch letter is still in play. And where I see it the most is within the Israelite community. You know what I mean? The Willie Lynch letter is working real good within Israelites that know they Israel. You know what I mean? And that's a shame. We supposed to be the ones that know about this, but we still falling into it. You know? Messed up.
United we stand, divided we fall.
Yep, exactly. So, just a quick announcement. I know I talked about, well, everybody not here, so I'm gonna wait to do like some announcements till later, so people don't miss nothing. But all right, so we just go ahead and move on. So okay, I'll give you like 15 minutes. Okay, go ahead, sis.
I just want to add a little tidbit. I was doing a study about Samuel this morning. I think it was 1 Samuel chapter 3 or something. One of the things that the sister brought out was that regardless of what was going on, it always says, but Samuel, you know, this such and such. And I think that's just the mentality we have to have, because even when we were in Christianity and there was different, you know, denominations and stuff going on, you know, if you wanted to be this type or that type, you stuck to the doctrine of what you felt was the truth then. And I think the same discipline needs to be applied once you do come into the truth, because it's such an amazing thing that regardless of what you hear going on in different sects or camps or things, or even in the media, you have to stay true, you know, to what you know is the truth. And
Right.
just, you know, it's a discipline thing, I believe.
Yep.
And so we pray for that, and we pray for our self-control.
Yeah, true. All right, y'all. So real briefly, we're gonna talk about a little bit of health stuff. If y'all have any questions concerning health, anything like that, you know, we'll give it about 15 minutes or so. And I'll speak about some health issues and, you know, how we can be healthy according to the Most High and what the Most High gave us to restore our health. So.
Hallelujah.
Well, I didn't plan to speak on health today. Does anybody want me to talk about anything in particular? If not, I can pick something.
Detoxing. Is there any special, like, cause I've been hearing it over and over, I just need to just detox and clean myself, and I tried the store-bought type of thing, but I just feel like it gave me the effects that I was looking for. It just made me like, like a laxative pretty much would work right. So if you have any type of tips or anything on detoxing,
Yep, I
simple
think
as possible.
detox is important, extremely important, I think, especially because of us living here and the food that we eat every day and the stuff that we put on our body and the air that we breathe.
Water.
Right, and the water we drink, all of that. So I think it's extremely important to detox. It's a lot of detoxes out that can be done. I think that fasting goes along with detoxing. So that's like a natural detox that you can do with it where you don't have to buy anything.
Right.
Water and fasting help to detox your body. I think a lot of people have probably heard about Dr. Sebi and stuff, a lot of the stuff that he promotes, and a lot of that links back to fasting. Like I know some of the fasts that he promotes, they last a long time, like even 30 days, where you just drinking water. But some of I've met people in odd places where I wouldn't have met, we didn't even weren't even talking about that or anything, and I've met some people that had testimonies on what some of those detoxes have done. Like they help to cleanse the body, help to really eradicate the body from cancers and all kind of stuff like that. But they even help with joint disorders. Like there was someone I met in the sauna who said that his mother was about to receive, I think it was maybe it was a knee replacement or something else, but it was joint related. And that's something that I didn't correlate and think that like fasting would necessarily play any part in. And after fasting and taking some additional herbs, she was able to basically heal herself.
Wow.
She didn't even have to have whatever surgery that was related to like her joints after doing that. So I think it's extremely powerful. Fasting is the best detox that you can do because you regenerate you regenerate all of your cells by fasting.
Right.
So like if you know about, just basic biology and all of our organs being made up of cells basically. And that's why it's so, it gets deep. You hear a lot of stuff about like stem cell research and stuff like that. That's because organ systems usually, the cells don't regenerate. Like your skin cells, they regenerate every day, all day. But when you're talking about brain and heart and things like that, a lot of those cells, you can't regenerate them because they're already formed into that particular cell. And so once they're damaged, and that's why people have, once you have a heart attack or a stroke and things like that, it's hard to kind of come back from that type of damage. Fasting can repair cells. So it's like giving yourself new life, basically. So the longer you do, even 12-hour fasts, you're bringing life into yourself by fasting for 12 hours from everything. And even fasts that include water are extremely beneficial because you just speeding the process up and basically like giving yourself new life. And I think the Most High kind of prescribed what we eat. Everything in the book is always what we need. So fasting is the #1 detox in my book. In opinion, you don't need to search for herbs, anything.
Right.
Just fast. Just start with that. And then there are herbs that you can look at that help to detox particular organ systems and things that you might want to try to rejuvenate in your body. But I wouldn't even do any of that until you fast because you kind of just wasting your money and putting good herbs into stuff and your body is not really receiving it it's not even going to do anything because you haven't detoxed appropriately. So fasting, drinking tons of water, and anything you can do to excrete and eliminate.
Like sweat type.
Yeah, sweat, saunas, hot showers. I just read an article. One of my coworkers sent me an article on baths, hot baths even. I know most women like extremely hot baths, but it's like extreme benefits to that. So like that is even more powerful than saunas, like a 30-minute very hot bath. So sauna, hot baths, of course exercise because that's helping you to excrete and eliminate through your skin.
So have you ever did it like a really hot bath for a long period of time?
Oh yeah.
And don't you feel drained though? So that
Yeah, I still like it.
you feel lightheaded? You was like, oh wow.
Yes, but I still like it.
Right, I do too. I feel like when it's that feeling though, you can tell something happened.
Should you still take medicine while fasting?
I wouldn't. It depends on what type of medicine you're talking about. But
Diabetes medicine.
usually you wouldn't need it unless you are a type 1 diabetic, and even then you really would just have to monitor yourself. Like I would say, take your blood sugar, check your blood sugar to make sure that it's within normal limits and not getting too low. But most of the time you wouldn't need to take that with fasting. And even in a hospital setting, I mean, when people that have, high blood pressure, diabetes, if they're going in for surgery and they can't have anything by mouth, like after midnight or whatever, even if they're diabetic, we don't usually give them insulin and stuff like that when we're in the hospital, because you just gonna drive their blood sugar way down. So, usually no. But if it's for prolonged periods, I would just continue to take your, blood sugar and make sure that it's within normal limits, drink plenty of water. That's it.
What about fiber?
Fiber.
Fiber therapy, like metamucil and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that's good, and that detoxes just pretty much your colon, like the lower portion of the colon. So it's gonna excrete, and it's gonna help you get rid of what you have in there at the time. But to do an extreme detox, like to get to the large intestine and get, everything that's out, you would have to do something more than Metamucil. Like, it's a lot of stuff that's really cheap. Like, people search for everything. One is the salt water cleanse. If you're talking about a colon cleanse, that's all you do is take 1 quart of water, warm water, and put 2 tablespoons of uniodized sea salt. You can put lemon in there. Lemon is really just to help with the taste, but it doesn't taste bad with or without it to me. Put that in there and warm it up. So I put it in a bath, meaning put it, get a pot of water, put some water in it, and then put a glass jar or something like that in the pot, because you don't want it to be boiling, because you're gonna have to drink it. So just get it warm, above room temperature, and then make sure all the salt dissolves in the water. And you, what you saying?
Like your baby bottle.
Right, yep, exactly. And then you drink that whole quart. Try to drink it within 12 minutes or less. Just down it, and for most people, it depends on everybody's system is different, but for most people, within 15, 20 minutes, you usually eliminate everything that's in your colon. All the water that you drunk is coming out. And
You put lemon in the last one that you made?
I don't remember.
Drink it down.
Straight salt water.
Straight
I
raw.
don't remember, but yeah, you do that, and you're gonna eliminate, and that's gonna help with getting the stuck on, or it sounds nasty to me. This stuff is normal, but all the feces and stuff that's stuck to the colon wall, all of that, it helped to eliminate all that. So yeah, salt is uniodized salt water. So
Pink Himalayan would be okay? Will pink Himalayan?
you know what? Every time I do pink Himalayan, I end up vomiting. Well, one time I've done it and I vomited, and then I had someone else do it and they did too. So, but you can use pink Himalayan, but I'm not using it no more because it come out the other way. So yeah, I would just get uniodized sea salt. A major brand is Hanes, which you can always find. It's even at Kroger's. If anybody wants some, I'll bring them some, because salt lasts forever. So I'll bring some if you want it.
What about the heavy metal detox as well?
Right. It's a lot of good herbs for that. A lot of good herbs for heavy metal detox. Dandelion root is a good one. That's an extremely good one.
What you mean, heavy
Yeah, I was
metal?
about to say, what is that?
Oh. So
Yeah, explain that.
there's basically, living here in this land and all the stuff that we eat, and all the stuff we eat, all the things that just modern day society, for example, like some people have fillings, if you still have those old mercury fillings. Yeah, you know how, that's what that is. That's what, if you have any fillings in your mouth that are
Silver.
still silver,
Yeah.
that's mercury. So that's a heavy metal.
That's a toxic poison.
Yeah, it is. It's linked to multiple sclerosis. I know people that have gotten them removed because they start having symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Now they use a lot of silicone or Yeah, I think it's silicone that they use now, when you have the clear ones, but, that's one thing, that's just one example. What else? Can you think of anything else that's heavy metal, Michelle?
Sometimes, different medications.
Yeah, medications. Oh, yeah, aluminum. Aluminum is, yeah, aluminum, oh, that's horrible. That's, silicone or that Teflon, that's horrible for you. Like, I would get, if you have those, make a point to buy a pan a week or every 2 weeks and get stainless steel or get a real metal like cast iron, because that stuff is unhealthy.
Quick question.
I thought they were gonna outlaw it soon. I thought it would have been outlawed already. But if you notice, you see a lot of companies coming out with ceramic, and it doesn't look like the traditional. I think they're just easing it out, but that stuff is very
But
toxic.
see, even with some of those, cause they still kinda have like even that copper one. Remember we was looking at that, but it was
Right.
something, I was like, I don't know, cause it was like they had the copper over it,
But they
but
had
it still
something
got like the
else.
Teflon or something.
Right.
Like,
I don't think it is. I think they figured out a way, but it's still weird, and you wonder like what next, what you gonna find out next about that, if they covered it up, if it's just not plain copper.
right.
Quick question. What causes Alzheimer's? Because I heard that it was, that aluminum was
Right,
the number one
aluminum is a big cause, they say. Nobody says they know for, like, definitively what causes Alzheimer's, but aluminum is a thing that they said definitely is linked to it. So like the pans that you, in aluminum foil, the pans you
Can.
eat, right, canned goods, I forgot, that's another source. Canned goods, oh yeah, deodorant has aluminum in it, yep, if you use regular deodorant.
Even
That's why
some,
Morial makes the detox deodorant without it, and it helps pull the stuff out. But yeah, it's written in everything. It's even in the drinking water sometimes, so it's written in a lot. So it's, and those heavy metals, you can't get rid of them. Like once they're in your body, they're in your body. So it's your body just doesn't naturally release them unless you do things to purposely release it, like fasting and taking herbs. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that too. Right. Oh, yeah, now you bring up a good point. Then when it leaks into the water, and then it's into the crops, that means it's in the soil and it's in the crops, and that means you eat it.
And they spraying aluminum with the chemtrail. That's
Right.
what they spraying in the
Right.
air.
So,
We
yeah.
need to be detoxing ourselves regularly.
Yeah, so it's, you detox by the food you eat, like the most High gave us herbs for a reason. And like dandelion, like, I'm telling you, when the spring comes, you will start looking at those dandelions a different way now. Like, I can't wait, cause I'm gonna make some stuff, a whole lot of
I
stuff.
seen an article. I shared it on the iRed Health about the dandelions and all of it.
Okay, yeah, dandelion is unbelievable, and they're everywhere. The Most High put that there for a reason. And it comes at this time, like, you can do so much with that, but that helps. That's a natural thing that we just spray away and think it of it like a
When
weed.
y'all start coming, y'all can pick them. When y'all see them growing, have the kids go out and pick them, bring them here. We can do stuff with them. We can make teas with them, all types of stuff. It's very healthy for
Picking them
you.
and eating
Dry
them.
the herb.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
kids like it.
I used to, when I was younger, bite the stem.
Oh,
Not
that's
eat them, but just, I like the way it feels in my teeth. Like,
right. And it probably was something in you.
weird.
No, it probably was something in you where your body needed something, because they are very high in certain minerals too. I think it's magnesium.
It's interesting you say that. What is it that makes people chew ice all the time?
They
I ain't
say
calling no
that
names,
it's,
I'm just saying.
right, they say
Only women do that.
it's,
Cut right in front of me.
they say it's type where that means your body needs something.
You said
It's
what?
called iron. It could be iron, it could be another nutrient that you're deficient in. So your body just
That's a woman
usually
thing.
crave
I
what.
don't know any man that do that. Like, gotta have ice and chew ice. That's
I go for bad,
And it's mostly pregnant women.
They in the
that I see
hospital,
doing
like,
most of the time.
like shit.
You hear about
Nah,
pregnant women?
I was doing it before she was pregnant, while she was pregnant, and now, like, she's like,
I got to have.
Just like those steaming hot baths all women think.
Exactly, you losing the
That's probably
Again, I
why.
don't
She's like, I.
You know how old I am. I've been like,
It's, you like water, basically. It's just another form
I have
of
to
the
make
water.
myself drink water.
Right, but you get it,
Without you, I
that's
don't.
right, exactly.
okay, so you said the body need it, so it's making them desire it.
Right.
In the form that they, okay.
We have to learn to listen to our bodies. Our body always tell us what we need, even if it's in strange forms, like it really always do. Even like pregnant women, you hear about pregnant women that like to eat dirt. Or they want to, that's
Like topsoil.
You have some different types of,
anytime.
different types of crazy.
Or the smell. Even cornstarch, is that in something, so you're trying to put it back.
Even right now.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, we'll get Iman in the back with a question. You had a question too?
Well, I actually didn't have a question.
And then Ray with a question or comment.
I just was making a comment on the dirt thing, you know, and that starch. You know, I'm from the South, so I know when my mom and them was pregnant and stuff, the red dirt, it was very common down there, and they ate a lot of that stuff, and it was, of course it was dry, they had to have it dry. If they got it wet, they dried it out. And the starch, I forgot, it was a certain kind of starch, it wasn't, you know, just corn starch, I don't know, it was hard, the starch that they bought for making starch to starch their clothes and stuff, you know, and then there was another kind of starch, and it'd be in lumps, and I used to look at them, I'm like, but anyway, I did like the red dirt, but the starch, I didn't really care for that.
Right.
But it was something else, oh yeah, about the, when you said, the salt, in the quart of water, how much salt did you use?
2 tablespoons
2 tablespoons? Okay.
and 1 quart of warm water.
Warm water.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Lukewarm.
I make you say.
Above room temperature.
Everybody gonna make something right. Amen.
Good cotton.
Hey.
Don't plan on leaving the house for a while.
Oh, I forgot to say that you have to do it on an empty stomach, so you either have to, if you were fasting for that day and you do it at any time, you good, or the best time when you wake up because you haven't ate. So it has to be on an empty stomach, and I wouldn't plan on leaving that. Don't do it unless you're gonna, like for an hour at least, but everybody's body is different. So, like, it might be 2 hours for you. So, like, maybe a day, the first time you do it, I would do it at home where you're gonna be at home for at least a couple hours. Well, 5-6 hours, because everybody's system
I
is different.
understand that clearly because I read a lot about, because having certain health issues, I don't, I'm not knocking anybody that would take the medication from the doctors, but I never really was a big fan of the doctors, and I took the medication because I wanted to keep my job when I was working. But now I don't work, I don't want to take the medication anymore. So I'm trying to keep my body clean so I don't have to.
So one more advice to anybody that's thinking about taking it and using it. Don't talk to Yoshaya before you do it.
Bad experience.
That's the reason why I couldn't drink it.
It does
You
to
made
me,
it.
I have no problem
She
with
made it for me.
I don't even understand.
I didn't even get to drink it all down because before I drunk it, he told me what it tasted like, and that kept being in my head, and I just couldn't get it down. Like what he said was in my head. I feel like if he didn't say that, I wouldn't drink
Don't say it out loud.
it. Don't talk to
That is
him.
the salt.
You should not say
I
anything.
See, I love salt. I'm a salt.
What's that?
Does it prepare you for a job interview?
What?
Oh,
We'll see your urine.
Oh, no, because this is more of a colon detox.
Okay.
Not a
So,
blood cleanser.
yeah, so like for urinary, like stuff that,
To clean
if
out
you
your
want
blood
a
and urine.
detox to help clean your urine,
Smoke the weed all the time and stuff.
Straight water.
I don't even know. Yeah,
Straight
water
water.
would be the best thing and
I heard,
drinking
you
as
see
much
how
as
true it is, cranberry? Or, yeah.
I don't know.
Can't go wrong
Oh,
with water.
burdock root. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
What is it called?
Burdock.
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 And that's
That's
a
an
fruit or a
extreme
tree?
drink.
That's a root.
A root?
Burdock.
That's almost like a vitamin too. It has so many minerals and vitamins.
Burdock
and
and
things.
I've heard of that. Burdock? Where you get it from?
You could get it at, Jungle Gym.
Natural.
You young said that.
Nah, I might be.
I just brought
All right, Doc, you got a good set for today? All right, let's get it. All right, y'all, so we're just gonna switch gears a little bit, do some praise music, you know what I mean, and you know, stand up, do what you want to do, praise the Most High, dance, sing along, whatever you want to do. Let's just have a great time praising the Most High, y'all.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, Yahshua. How y'all feel today? Y'all feel good? Y'all look good. It's good to see all y'all faces here on this day that the Most High has set apart for us. I want to start off with a testimony. Just sort of landing back off a few things that was said. So I was talking about just having that personal conviction for when we doing stuff concerning the Shabbat. And so we was always, what's going on, young eye? You up here with me today? Huh? Come on. So normally we would forget to get the waters or whatever we would bring to the Shabbat, and we would run and do the self-checkout lane. You know what I'm saying? At Kroger's or whatever. So last Shabbat, I was gonna bring some waters and everything, but I felt that conviction. It was like, it don't matter if you're going in there trying to use self-checkout lane. I want you to, on that day, just not do anything. So you need to prepare yourself beforehand because you know that this day is coming. You know you got to bring something. You need to be more mindful because it's transgression. You know what I'm saying? And I always see my goal is to make sure that I don't have any sin purposely in my life. You know what I'm saying? So when the Spirit illuminates something like that, like, hey, look, like you start to feel some type of way in your spirit, you're not producing that on feeling by yourself. Because if it was left up to us, we would do our own desires and our own accords, and we would never think about the Most High. But when you start to feel that conviction, start to feel bad about little things that you're doing, you should definitely go and check the Word and see where it lines up. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Another thing, the Most High was dealing with this week was just discipline, like Imam was saying. And I had said that the Most High had been telling me to detox, which is true. But the accompanying word was fast. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to figure out how to detox and not fast. So when I asked her, and the first thing she said was, well, fast. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, Father, okay, I understand exactly what it is that you're saying. And no matter what it is that we want to hear, or what we want to do, or how we want to try to spin it so that it's comfortable or easy to us, it ain't gonna be right unless we do it the way the Most High says to do it. And we should be very grateful for the fact that He cares enough to micromanage us like that. Think about that though. He cares enough to convict you for something that most people, most pastors, most spiritual people would be like, oh, bro, you good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a great thing to be set apart. It's a great thing to have fellowship and communion with the Most High. For so long, I was out here doing my own thing spiritually. Yes, He was leading me and guiding me to some extent, but in the Christian church, I really just didn't know the depths of the sin that I was in. You know what I'm saying? And I was calling myself righteous and calling the things that I was doing righteous. But now I can honestly stand here and say that it's not my own righteousness that I stand in, but it's Yahweh's righteousness because I honor His word through and through. I'm keeping His commandments. I'm keeping His Shabbat. I'm honoring His law. I'm making sure it's read to my children. I'm making sure I'm loving my wife right. I'm providing, doing everything that I'm supposed to do because it's got to be holistic. Hallelujah. So it feels good. It do. It's not to say I don't go through things because I walked off my job 2 weeks ago. The wifey don't have no job. She's not getting no pay. You know what I'm saying? We out here. but our faith on fleek. You hear me? Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Because I know I'm being used as an example. You feel me? I'm being used as an example. So if I can't trust you in these moments, how am I going to tell other people to trust you? How am I going to be able to testify and say, oh, he did this if he don't do it? So, you know, I'm in uncomfortable positions all the time, but still feel good. Let's go.
Going to his riches and glory, bro.
Hallelujah. Because we know what really matters. This stuff is vain. It really don't matter. America, any day, can fold up. Remember in Revelations, it said that Babylon, one day, the merchants wept. Because in one day, 1 hour, it said, what was it, 1 hour? 1 hour. It was all over. So in 1 hour, all this stuff we put stock into, go be gone. So I'm not tripping about none of this stuff, man. I want to make sure that my heart and my mind is laid up for the right things, that my riches are laid up with the Most High. That's the only thing that matters. Hallelujah. Yeah. He'll play. First song, y'all, we're going to do our fellowship song. Come on, y'all, stand up. Be a part of this with me. Oh, man. Boy, we about 30 pounds? All right, so y'all remember the words of this song? It says, I won't harm you with the words of my mouth. I need you. I need you. And it said, I'm going to love you like I love myself. I need you. And this is basically a declaration of love to your kinsmen because this is how we move in Israel now. I won't harm you with the words of my mouth.
And we say,
I need you. I need you. I love you like I love myself. I need you. I need you. Won't harm you with the... Come on, turn to your neighbor and say this, man. I need you. I need you. I won't harm you with the words of my mouth. I need... All right, this on one accord, y'all. Come on, let's be on one accord. On one accord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. On one accord. Glory to ya, glory to ya, on one accord. Hallelujah, hallelujah, on one accord. Glory to ya, glory to ya. Your now was great, your how was great, and great to be praised, and great to be praised. All right, come on, together. I won't harm you with the words of my mouth. Come on, tell your neighbor. I need you. I need you. I won't harm you with the words of my mouth. Yeah. I need you. I need you. I want you with the words of my mouth. I need you. I need you. I love you like I love myself. I need. Come on, y'all get on one accord. Let's synchronize. On one accord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. On one accord. All glory. Glory to ya, glory to ya. On one accord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. On one accord. Glory to ya, glory. Repeat after me. Yeah, how was great. I was great and great to be praised. Alright, find somebody enjoy talking yet. Won't harm you with the words of my mouth. I need you. I need you. I love you like I love myself. Boy, I'm waiting you. I need you. I need you. I love you like are you outside? I need you. I need desire to love you like I love myself. I need you. Come on, y'all, one accord. On one accord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. On one accord. Glory to ya, glory to ya. On one accord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. On one accord. Lord, glory to ya, glory to ya. Come on, y'all, let's put a round of applause for Yahweh, the great I am. Hallelujah, the Prince of Peace, the sovereign ruler of everything in time. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That's the activation song, y'all, because that holds us accountable. You know what I'm saying? In no moments when we be at home, And my brother done made me mad, made me feel some type of way. Man, I won't harm you with the words of my mouth. Even to wifey. Because sometimes I get in my feelings and I got my one person to vent to. But I should still be mindful of the words that I'm releasing about my brother and sister. I was convicted on this song came from conviction. I ain't gonna stall you. This song came from conviction. I get my feelings sometimes and I feel like a brother did. And I get the ba 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 ba. In the reflection time, I was like, that ain't even what it is. You mad about this? You done painted it this way in your mind. You know what I'm saying? You done brought it to your wife and she don't really want to agree with it, but she don't want to tell you you're wrong. But, and that ain't even what it is. You know what I'm saying? So the mindset has to be one of, regardless of what the other person is doing. Regardless of what everybody else is saying or have concluded, me, I'ma love you like I love myself, regardless. Hallelujah. Is Rihanna here?
She back in there.
Can we get her?
You put me in the line of the love, so. Yes, just the things that you're talking about, brother.
What's I say, man?
I need you need me, we're all part of y'all's family.
Oh yeah, I stole that clip, a little word that was there. I did. Definitely did. I balled it. I took Hezekiah Walker. Definitely did. It's the house word. Hallelujah. Iman, you ready? Hey, it's your song right here, ain't it?
Right.
Nah, it's your song, Iman. The song 23. The how what is my He leads all those who keep his commandments and believe. Walk upright, you won't be deceived. He's pouring out his grace, just make sure you receive. Open heart included. This time for us to be booted. I mean this nation, we recruiting, all those set apart. We have the solution. Bless your name, Father, in this very moment. Come against his will, we do not condone it. But we own something way different. Elevate your power, not about me being gifted. My Yah is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yah is my shepherd, I shall not want. Lead us, Father. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He leads me.
Lead us, Father. Hallelujah. For your name's sake.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Rihanna?
All right, we rolling. You know what crazy works. You should have been over here.
Right now.
Come on.
Hey.
Set your heart into his words and Deuteronomy. Stay focused in his laws and the evil spirits will flee. Shake them all off, cause the hate is on me. And Psalms 34:13. Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. sunshine. He's perfection when it's dark as night. He's my light on my darkest days. He's always there when I give him praise.
Yeah, yeah. When I give him praise. Yeah, yeah. When I give him.
Keeping this house is what we made to do. The commandments, the dietary, and the statutes too. Resting on the seventh day, Genesis 2 and 2. And don't just follow the one, follow them all through. People always complaining, saying they ready to break all the laws he gave us. He told us not to forsake it. We need to learn to appreciate, not abbreviate, nor hesitate, because his laws we should not break or partake.
Hallelujah. Partake.
Come on, baby girl.
He's my goodness in the sunshine. That's when it's dark at night. He's my light in my darkest days. He's always there when I give him praise. But you know you've been fascination. Reading his words with admiration. Follow the laws, no complication. Keeping the Sabbath, no hesitation. His goodness in the sunshine. He's perfection when it's dark at night. He's my light on my darkest days. He's always there when I give him praise. Yeah, yeah. When I give him praise. Yeah, yeah. When I give him praise. Yeah, yeah.
Hallelujah.
When I give him praise.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, yeah. When I give him praise.
Hallelujah. Come on, y'all. Put our hands together for the mighty presence of your house.
Keep it going, hey. Keep it going, hey. Hey.
When I give him praise.
Yeah.
When I give him praise.
Yeah. Yeah. Woo.
When I give him praise.
Come on, y'all. Let's lift his name up. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
Yeah.
We exalt you right now.
When I give him praise. Yeah. When I give him praise. Hey, that's why we have the hashtag right here, y'all.
Hallelujah.
Y'all come in, take a look at these hashtags. That's what's gonna get us through the week.
So look, what we do
Right on
is,
point.
once we leave the synagogue and we go through and we reflect on everything that we partake in on the Sabbath, we share.
Yeah.
We hashtag Israel now, hashtag hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Every week we have us a new hashtag, you know what I'm saying? And that way, at the same way, we share in our experience of what it's like for us to be together here in Israel now, and also we promoting the work and the movement at the same time. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Work out no better.
Gonna work out no better. That's why we can't take no credit for it. Nobody can take credit for what the Most High is doing. Nobody. Because 1 year ago, I was pretty much living with your body. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no direction as far as my music. I didn't know what was going on. But ever since I lined up and started keeping the commandments, started keeping the shit in Israel now, my life has did a 180 in 1 year.
Right.
Like, me and the wife was talking this morning, it was showing her in Facebook what your last year was like. You know what I'm saying? And she was celebrating Valentine's Day and doing all types of stuff. And she like, I never would have thought 1 year from February 14th last year to now that I would be married, I'll have a baby, walking in this truth, doing music. Like, she was doing none of these things before she started keeping the commandments. So it's just a testimony of the faithfulness of the Most High.
So I can't get the wireless mic on the back though?
You okay?
We just did something.
Shema Israel. Listen to Yahweh, by Elohim, God. He is true and faithful in all his
your count. When you counting the amount of the names written out of the ones that kept the laws that came up out your mouth. Immersed in your ruach, law on my mental. Body is a temple, so I treat it like a rental. Really wanna change in your life, the quit is simple. First thing you need to know is that you are Israel. This is the rebuild of the nation of Israel. Under King Yahushua, a David seed. All power over darkness imparted in me, imparted in you. If you bear His fruit, that's the only truth. When we get together, see the power through the roof. So we can feel like we're in the power of a new your ways are true. Is there more that I can do? Hallelujah, I will do anything for you.
Hallelujah!
Like 15 minutes. Good old class. Napkin.
Wipe the floor. Come on, y'all.
Come on, y'all. Let's lift up His name. Let's lift up their name.
Abba Elohim Yahweh.
Sound good today.
So glad you sent your son Yahweh. Great is our master, Israel's yours to say. Abba Elohim Yahweh.
A little bit more. Hey.
Abba Elohim Yahweh. So glad you sent your son Yahweh. Great is our master, Israel's yours to say. Abba Elohim Yahweh.
Let go.
Abba Elohim Yahweh. So glad you sent your son Yahweh. Great is our master, Israel's yours to say. Abba Elohim Yahweh. Sovereign is our Yah, He's faithful to say. We're not justified by words, yet we were just the same. Doing all that you said do, when it's written in your truth. Sent your son to die for us, even when we hated you. Abba Elohim Yahweh. So glad you sent your son Yahweh. Great is our master, Israel's yours to say. Abba Elohim Yahweh. Abba Elohim Yahweh. So glad you sent your son Yahweh. Great is our master, Israel's yours to say. Abba Elohim Yahweh.
Okay, Abba.
Talk to him, sis.
Some say it higher, it's higher than Messiah.
Messiah. Some say Yahuwah, his son name is Yeshua. The Elohim Yahshua, sanctified.
Call us all.
We can only see a part, that's why we gotta
Stay involved.
separated. They love us separated. A house divided can't stand. Look what we created. Our youth incarcerated. That's a different type of slavery. If you came to set the captives free,
Why they change?
it started in the brain. The culture got it insane. Their mama's thinking it's
So they turn out like their daddies.
too much work for us to do.
Argue over fanatics.
All praises to the Most High. And don't you forget it. Like hated the story. We wish you're staying at it. Keep on teaching this truth. It's our big Yahweh revealing. Yeah, we building the nation. Not everybody is citizen. If you're not covered by the blood, I'm pretty sure you're not getting it. I'm a Elohim, Yahweh. So glad you sent your son, Yahweh. Great is our master. Israel's yours to save. I'm a Elohim, Yahweh. Worthy, worthy, worthy. Kodesh is the Lamb. Kodesh is the Lamb. Faithful, faithful, faithful. Yes, you are the great I am. Yes, you are the great I am.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So we're gonna do one of our congregational songs. Oh, just came to me. Yah has gave me a song that the angels cannot sing. I've been washing the blood. Of the crucified one. I've been redeemed. My God has been so good to me. He's opened doors I could not see. At times when I am feeling low, no one to care, no place to go. My Father is rich, He owns all the land. Behold the power of the world in His hand. Come on, y'all, one more time. Yah has gave me a song that the angels cannot sing. I've been washed in the blood. I've been washed in the blood of the crucified one. Of the crucified one. I've been redeemed. My God has been so good to me. He's opened doors I could not see. At times when I am feeling low, no one to care, no place to go. My Father is rich, He owns all the land. He holds the power of the world in His hand. Look at this. Power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. He's got the power of the world in His hand. So it's gonna be something we're gonna end on, y'all. Yeah, this is right here. So settle us back down, get ready for the word, and out.
I need you, oh yeah, yeah, I need
the only thing that suit us. Yasharal linked up with the tribe of Judah. One nation under Yah. Yahweh the King, the son of Yah. History it shall be redeemed. The law of Yahweh will govern human beings. Water will flow from his throne like a stream. Eat from the tree of life, never die again. This is real talk. This is not a game. Sovereign is your will. This is what you have ordained. May we be bold as your word we proclaim. If they kick in the door, it's all in your hands. You are our protection. This is your plan. Who knows your mind? We are just
I need you. I need you. Oh yeah, yeah. I need you with every breath. Yeah, I need you to keep my health. Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. Oh yeah, yeah. I receive every word you say. Yeah, may your ruach go to my every step. Yeah, we can't make it on our own, so we're kneeling at your throne. Acknowledge you in every way. We're right here living for today. It gets hard in this captivity. May your ruach come and rescue me. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Hey, where would I be if I walked down that broad road? Where would I be if Hasatan had a stronghold? I need Yah, willing to take a loss. Where would I be if Yahweh Shah didn't pay the cost? The lights in my path, righteous almighty king. Where would I be if I focused on material things? It seemed like them things that bad for your health. And Yah can care less about riches and wealth. Grab me, push me, Abba, you can't control me. You are the potter, I'm the clay, Yah mold me. Feeling meek and humble about my lifestyle. But I need more of your rule, I'm talking right now. Help me, Abba, Yah. Where would I be if I lost my life faster than I can blink? Faster than you can blink? I'll be Yah right by your side and give you what you need. Ask not, seek, and you should find. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So that concludes Israel Now Praise and Worship.
That's a powerful song.
We go ahead and hand it back over to the Yahshua.
Hallelujah.
All right, y'all. So real quick, when we gonna get into some scriptures, but it's gonna be a bit different today. I really just want to prepare everybody for the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So that's really kind of what we gonna do. A little bit in lesson form and a little bit in like a Q&A type of form as well. A little bit of just throwing out the information. So when the time comes, because for a lot of people here, it may be your first time keeping Passover. Maybe your second time. May not all the rules concerning it. So we're going to go over the rules, the laws, concerning the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is, the holy days that's coming up in April. So if you have any questions concerning it, you'll be able to throw them out even throughout the course of this, like I say, lesson. We're going to do it a little bit different. So first off, I think we'll start with, all right, so what we do when we keep Passover. The Passover is, and this is a thing too, just to explain what the Passover is, because many people, depending on their perception, depending on maybe whatever background they came from, they think the Passover is one thing when the Passover is another thing. So the Passover, what is the Passover? The Passover is what? Who can tell me that? What is the Passover? Nobody knows? All of Israel? Go ahead.
When the angel passed over, when they put the mark on the post.
Right. That's what happened. Go ahead.
Can you make an announcement to all of you to come over here? We're going to have class.
Yep. All of you, y'all hear that? Go ahead to the other side for the youth class.
Y'all stay away from that strawberry cake.
No. You take her over with you? Okay, so the ox say when the death angel passed over the houses. All right, that's good. Go ahead. Go ahead, Iman.
I don't know if it might or not, but I think their children were in Egypt and y'all brought the plague down, and I think the last one was when the death angel came over and they put them on the door. And that was when the children when they were led out of Egypt.
Okay. Right. So after the Egyptians' firstborn dying, and then the Israelites were led out of Egypt. Okay. All right. What else? Anything else? Go ahead.
I think that the correlation between what happened then to what we're doing now is acknowledging the blood, because they were saved by the blood, by the sign of the blood over their doorposts. We're covered by Yahushua, whose blood, you know. So I think as this is what I think, as a memorial to the original Passover, we continue to acknowledge his sacrifice for us by celebrating this Passover. And my only question then comes in with the lamb part, but I feel like he's the lamb. So there's no more slaying. Nobody else, nothing else, no one else has to be slain, because his blood covers and conquers all. And so we celebrate this right before the Feast of Unleavened Bread in order to acknowledge.
Well, that's good. Everything everybody said was good. That's all good. So, all right. So the Passover is when the death angel came and passed over our houses, right, and killed the firstborn Egyptians in the land of Egypt thousands of years ago. That is the Passover. That's what happened during that night. Also, to commemorate what happened during that night, the Almighty gave us a feast to commemorate that. A feast means eating, right? So we were supposed to eat certain things once a year on the 14th day of the first month to commemorate that great event of the Most High passing over our houses in Egypt. And what was those things we were supposed to eat to commemorate? We were supposed to eat lamb, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs, right? So now, fast forward, as you just stated, that the blood of the lamb back then transfers over spiritually, right, in the scriptures to Yahweh's blood. And since that lamb was a sort of a sacrifice, it was a sacrifice, we don't necessarily have to eat lamb today because Yahweh is our Passover, right? It says that in 1 Corinthians, I think is, 5 and 7, I believe, when it says Yahweh is our Passover. That's what's meant by that. Is that right? I'm going to take it out. I think it's 1 Corinthians 5 and 7, I believe. That's it? Okay. We're going to read it real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. So we're still eating unleavened bread. We're still eating bitter herbs by commandment. All right? But let's read this first and I'll explain the Passover of the lamb.
1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Mashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
See that? So even the Messiah, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. He's directly linking the Old Testament Passover lamb to the Messiah being that sacrifice, as the sister stated, the blood of that lamb, the blood of the Messiah today. All right? So if someone today is Messianic that believes in the Messiah, if they keep the Passover and they do not eat the lamb, you didn't break the law, right? So, because today, the Messiah is the Passover, all right? And so, remember though, that lamb was a sacrifice, and it went along with a whole lot of things. So, if you were to say that you're eating, even though we eat lamb during the Passover, that's not the Passover lamb. Yahweh is the Passover lamb. We eat lamb during the Passover because most of us like lamb. That was the tradition. That was the commandment back then. That's what we always ate. But that's still not the Passover lamb. You can't go to Kroger and get you a piece of lamb and grill it and say, this is the Passover lamb. Because if you was to eat what you call the Passover lamb, you don't know how old that lamb was. That lamb could only be a certain age. You had to inspect that lamb before you killed it to make sure it was without blemish. You don't know any of that stuff. That lamb had to be I think it was a female, the Passover lamb. Was it a female? Do you remember? It couldn't be a male or female. It was one or the other. Maybe it was a male lamb. I don't remember. It had to be a year old. It had to be either a male or female. You don't know if that's a male or female lamb you're eating. You couldn't break a bone in that lamb's body. That lamb was already broken up in parts. This is not the Passover lamb. Yahweh is the Passover lamb. All right, just to make that clear. Can you eat lamb on Passover? Yes. Today, do you have to eat lamb on Passover? No, you don't have to. Yahweh is the Passover lamb. All right? The unleavened bread, the bitter herbs, still stands. Because those were not connected to a sacrifice. Remember, when Yahweh came and he shed his blood for our sins, he represents all of those sacrifices in the Old Testament. All of those slaughters of bulls and lambs and all that stuff that our people was doing, his blood was shed once and for all to cover all of that. Okay? So we just going through some different ins and outs concerning the Passover. All right.
So it can't be
Got it.
symbolic,
What part can be symbolic?
the lamb part. It
In the
just
Old
has to
Testament?
be a part of the meaning. It can't be symbolic of the Passover. You know what I'm saying?
Does it have-
Some people say, you have to have lamb because it's symbolic of the memorial.
Oh, gotcha. Well, it is symbolic, and that's why we have it. But if you don't have lamb, you still didn't sin, because Yahweh is that lamb.
Right.
You know? So, well, yes, it is symbolic, and that's another reason why we do have lamb still, because it is symbolic of the Messiah, of the real Passover lamb. Yes. So he found the scripture, so we're gonna bring this up.
The book of Exodus chapter 12 and verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Yea, or ye shall take it from the sheep or from the goats.
Right. So, what if you go buy a lamb in Kroger's and that was a female lamb?
Right.
And you eating this like it's the Passover lamb? That is not the Passover lamb. Any lambs we eating today, right? Another thing, the Passover lamb could, according to the law, could only be killed in one city, and that was Jerusalem.
Right.
Right? So that means you gotta fly all the way to Jerusalem and kill this lamb, and you know what I mean? All of this stuff is not the Passover lamb. All right? But where was Yahweh killed? He was killed in Jerusalem.
Right.
Okay? So that lamb in the Old Testament was nothing but a foreshadowing of the real lamb. Right? That's why when John the Baptist seen the Messiah, what did he say? Behold, the Lamb of Elohim that taketh away the sins of the world. He understood who he was. He understood that those sacrifices that was happening before he came was nothing but pointing to him. Nothing but a foreshadowing to when he comes. All right? So that's dealing with the lamb part. All right, so let's deal with Exodus chapter 12. We're going to read verses 21 through 28.
Y'all there, hallelujah. Exodus or Shemot, chapter 12 and verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. Verse 23. For Yahweh will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood upon the lintel, the lintel, and on the two side posts, Yahweh will pass over the door, and will not suffer to destroy or the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when ye be come to the land, which Yahweh will give you according as he has promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children...
Now this is real important. Check this out. this verse. It shall come to pass when your children, go ahead,
shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is a sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed their head and worshiped.
So y'all answered correctly. When I say what is the Passover, the scripture is telling you right here. When your kids tell you, why are we doing this? Meaning, what mean ye by this service? Why are we having this celebration? What is this about? It's all about when the Most High passed over our houses and smote the firstborn in Egypt. That is the Passover, and he gave us a meal to commemorate that event. That's the Passover. If you go to many Christian circles right now, they'll tell you the Passover is something totally different. They'll tell you the Passover is, I heard all type of stuff. That's not the Passover. This is telling you what the Passover is. All right? So keep going. The last verse, 28.
And the children of Israel went away and did as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron. So did they.
All right. So now we know what the Passover is, which y'all answered correctly. We got the scripture on it as well. So, we're supposed to eat unleavened bread during the Passover. All right. So let's go there. Let's read that. Actually, let's just back up a little bit in this same chapter. Let's go to. Actually, let's just start at 14. Verse 14 will be perfect. Yep, we're gonna start at verse 14. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 14 down to about verse 20.
Shemot chapter 12 and verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by ordinance forever.
So we still keeping that feast from year to year throughout our generations, right? Go ahead, keep going.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a set apart or holy convocation. And in the first day there shall be a set apart convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be Salakia. In the first day there shall be a set apart convocation. And in the 7th day there shall be a set apart convocation for you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. I think yours is
All right, so what does that mean? Okay, so what does that mean, what we just read? So if we look at it, this is dealing with the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right? The Passover is on the 14th. The Feast of Unleavened Bread starts the next day and lasts for 7 days. In verse 16 it says, and in the first day you shall have a holy convocation. So the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is a gathering. A holy convocation means we must gather together. Right? So we'll be gathered together on the first day of that feast. And in the 7th day, there shall be a holy convocation. The feast lasts 7 days. On the first day, we gather together, and on the 7th day, we gather together. To you, no manner of work shall be done in them. Don't do any work on the first day of unleavened bread and on the last day of unleavened bread, which is the 7th day. All right? But what work can we do? It says, save, right? That which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So what is that saying? That's saying, what must we eat on the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Unleavened bread. So if you have to cook to make unleavened bread, that's the work that you can do on the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You can cook to make the food for the feast on that day, which is different from the weekly Sabbath day. On the weekly Sabbath, we don't do any cooking. We cook before the Sabbath comes. But on the first and the last day of unleavened bread, even though they're days that we were commanded not to work, when he says, except you can do that which every man must eat. Meaning these days are feasts, and we can actually cook on those feast days, but don't do any other work. That makes sense? These are all the laws concerning Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All right? No work except for the work, the food for the feast.
So in King James it says save, that mean accept?
Yes, that means accepts. 400 years ago, save, that's how they would talk. Save, accept. Old English, yep. All right, so the next verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the that same day I have brought the armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by ordinance forever. Same thing is said about Passover. We keep them both forever throughout our generations, right? From generation unto generation. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 18. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread, until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Verse 20, ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations ye shall eat unleavened bread.
Okay. Now, the very first verse we read was verse 18. So, on the Passover, we keep the Passover at night all the time. All right? It's supposed to be kept at evening and at night. When we keep the Passover and we sit down and have the Passover meal, included in that meal must be unleavened bread, must be included in that meal. All right? Also, when we eat the Passover meal, we cannot eat anything that's leavened within the Passover meal. So whatever is made within that meal, nothing can have leaven in it. And we'll go over in a little bit what leaven is, right? So the Passover meal, two things. When we eat the meal itself on the 14th day of the first month at even, which will be nighttime, we sit down eating the Passover meal, right? We have lamb, whatever we have with it. We must have unleavened bread with that meal. And within that meal, no leaven can be eaten within that meal. Nothing leaven, nothing with ingredients with leaven in it, anything like that. All right? And we're going to put up a whole list of all the things that's considered leaven, yeast. It's like, what is it, 4 different ingredients? It's like 4 different ingredients that you'll have to remember. I think it's yeast, leaven, baking soda, baking powder. Is that right? Basically, right. So, all right, so we just read that here, how on verse 18 when it says, on the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread. So that's when we keep the Passover, on the 14th day of the first month at even. And now it's telling us on the 14th day of the first month at even, you eat unleavened bread. Because unleavened bread is eaten with the Passover meal itself, right? Remember when the Messiah was sitting down in Matthew 26 with his disciples? He told them, go and prepare the Passover that we may eat. They went and prepared the Passover. He said, go to such and such a man's house, and we'll tell them we're going to keep the Passover at your house. He already had it set up, right? As they sitting down eating the meal, what did he say? He said he broke bread and gave it to his disciples and said, eat, this is representative of my body that will be broken for you. Well, what type of bread did he break? Unleavened bread, because it was the Passover, and you must eat unleavened bread with the Passover. And the commandment says don't eat anything leavened with the Passover. We didn't read that, but let me find where that is. Verse 20? Okay.
Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread.
Right. And I think if we back up in this chapter, it'll say it too. Yeah, let's back up to the beginning of the chapter and clarify a few more things. So we're in Exodus 12. We're going to start at verse 1 and read on down.
All right. Exodus 12 and 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe and Aharon in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it.
All right, now watch verse 8. He's going to tell us what you got to eat it with.
And they shall eat the flesh in the night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
So we eat it with what? Unleavened bread and bitter herbs. All right, keep going.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, with the pertinence thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
So now, when we keep the Passover, right, and we have some lamb, if we bring lamb, right, and if we have lamb left over to the next day, you can eat it the next day. Why? Because that lamb is not this Passover lamb. You didn't take it on the 10th day, you didn't do none of that stuff. Yahushua is the Passover lamb. That was a sacrifice. Just like we don't do any other sacrifice. If people go and commit a sin, they're going to bring some bull and we sacrifice it, or some pigeon, or some dove, or some bullock, or some goat, or some lamb. This was a sacrifice as well. And his blood represents all of the sacrifices. So everything that was done to that lamb, we're not doing to this lamb. This is not the Passover lamb. Yahushua is the Passover lamb. You had to cook it a certain way. We're not doing that. We had to kill it ourselves, get it on the 10th day. We're not doing that. You go buy it at Kroger's whatever day. You know what I mean? So don't think like, okay, I can't eat this leftovers. You can't eat it if you have lamb left over. All right? That's not the Passover lamb. But we still have bitter herbs and unleavened bread with the Passover meal itself. All right? Of course, we'll have plenty of unleavened bread. We'll give it to sisters and show them how to make unleavened bread, because them days are over now that we buy them matzahs from the store, from the fake Jews. Them days is long over. We make our own matzahs. Matzahs just mean unleavened bread in Hebrew. So we make our own, and it's not hard like a cracker, it's soft. We got wine, then we got our own wine now, so we're good. You know what I mean? All right, so let me see. Let's pick up in verse number, verse 10. Yeah, 11, right.
And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is Yahweh's Passover.
Eat it in haste means to eat it fast. Verse 11, we don't have to do none of that, because what we are keeping is the memorial of the Passover. We're keeping something that already happened, and we're memorializing this event. So he told them in this day to do what? To eat it with your loins girded. So loins girded means, because in ancient times, Israelite men will wear these long things like tunics, almost like we call a dress today. Your loins girded means they pull it up and they tie it around their legs. Like you get ready to go, you get ready to hike up something, you got to pull that stuff up, right? That means your loins girded, because they're getting ready to go somewhere. Then it says, and your shoes on your feet. I know some brothers, Israelites today, that actually still sleep with their shoes on Passover night because of this verse. In context, he's talking to the people that night because they're about to get up and go leave Egypt. This is not what we have to do in 2019, right? I mean, if you choose to do it, that's on you. But in context, this is not telling us every year we sleep with the shoes on our feet on Passover night, right?
So what do they do about the staff part?
That's why we get to that.
Okay.
And your staff in your hand. All ancient, people, our ancient ancestors had staffs all the time. We have them more as a memorial here. But we live in cities. We're not walking, they would actually be out there with the sheep. They need a staff. What if a fox comes? What if a goat comes? You might want to fight it off with your staff. Walking up these mountains and hills, you carry the staff. So he said that have your staff ready in your hand, because in a minute you have to get up and you gotta go. That's what that's about in context. It doesn't mean we have to sleep with a staff in our hand at night. And I have to say this because I actually know people that do this. Not that it's a bad thing. If they want to do it, they can do it. But we got to understand the scriptures in the right context. This is not saying every single year sleep with shoes on your feet and the staff in your hand.
Right.
All right. So,
Can I ask you about verse 6?
go ahead.
This is 6, where it says, of the lamb or the goat. Okay, verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, male, blah, blah, blah. You shall take it out from, where it says you shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. What does that mean? Why is goats even present in that verse? I mean, a lamb is a lamb, a goat is a goat. What am I missing? Or am I overthinking?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to look it up for me. He look it up in Hebrew.
Okay.
So the lamb here is just symbolic to one of the flock. So it's just saying here the Hebrew word actually is seseh. I think that's how you pronounce it. Comes from H7716, and it's one of the flock: lamb, sheep, goat, young goat, right? And then pretty much the sheep, the Hebrew word for sheep, it comes from H3532, and it's saying that in context, lamb, sheep, young ram. And then the Hebrew letter for goat is H5795, and it says female goat, she goat, or kid. So it's kind of making it seem like this interchangeable. In a sense, like if it's a lamb, it's just basically saying that it's a young, it's one of the young ones from the flock, whether it be sheep or goat.
So, at that time when they were doing this sacrifice, had Aaron brought a baby goat, did his blood have been?
As long as it was the right year and they checked it out, because remember he had to inspect it. It had to be like a year old. He had to inspect it and make sure there was no blemishes in it. You know what I mean? Like, it couldn't be anything wrong with that lamb.
Because I thought it had to be a sheep.
It's making it seem like it could be either or.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's a
Because
mistranslation.
some of the shepherds had
It sounds like it's supposed to be, it's just trying to use the word flock. Like you get something out the flock and they put both here.
Yeah. Well, the scriptures a
Not
lot of
this
times speak like
translation.
that. Like all through the book, it'll tell you like something, and then it'll tell you again the same thing. Like when it say take it from the sheep or from the goats, to me it's like interchangeable, saying the same thing. You know, just two different ways. And the scriptures read like that all through the book. It'll say like do this and then say do it again in the same verse in the same way, just two different ways of saying it. But according to like both of the Hebrew words, they both still mean lamb.
I mean, I asked that because where I'm from, we call both meat mutton. You have goat mutton and you have lamb mutton. But the meat is described as the same type of meat, which is mutton. So I dare to think that, okay, if they couldn't find a lamb according to specifics, then a goat kid would do. Is that what, you know?
I've heard this. Well, tell me this,
Then you
because
could goat meat.
I've heard some people
Replace
say
lamb
that
meat.
one was like the male and one was the female. I don't know if that's true or not.
That stood out to me. A male of the first year shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. But lamb, when I hear the word lamb, I think of only sheep. I don't think of a goat lamb. You know what I'm saying? A goat has a kid and a sheep has a lamb. And I was just wondering where did, you know.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
How does that
We look a little farther into it too.
So
That
in
makes
some
sense.
cases, did they not have sheep? Did some people not have sheep?
No. I mean, of course, some
Some did
people,
raise goats and
but
some did raise lamb.
So
you know.
you could bring a goat to them. You can have the sheep, you can also bring that goat, but say it was still represented the same way. So we gotta look at all of it as a full totality of it. You're just knocking it all in one sense,
Because
right?
they're both in flocks
Yeah.
Right.
and they're both called mutton.
I mean, in that sense, yeah.
But you have to separate the sheep from the goat at some point, so I just wanna know is that relevant?
I hear what you're saying.
All right.
All right, so we got so far what?
Good question.
Unleavened bread must be eaten. Bitter herbs must be eaten with the Passover meal. We eat lamb as well, but it is not a necessity today because Yahweh Shai is the Passover lamb. All right. So let's deal with this communion, right? Because when the Messiah did when he kept the Passover with his disciples, he also did what? Passed around the unleavened bread and said, "Take, eat, this is my body that will be broken for you." Then he passed around the wine and told them, "Drink this, this represents my blood that will be shed for you." So, and the scripture also says, as often as you do this, in remembrance of me. So we have to do that in remembrance of the Messiah. But he said, as often as you do this. What does it mean, as often as you do this? Do this service. What service were they doing? The Passover. So as often as you do the Passover, since he's representative of the Passover, as often as we do that, we're going to take this unleavened bread and this wine and drink it and eat the unleavened bread in remembrance of him, which is our true Passover. All right? So now, when we deal with what they call communion, which is eating the bread and wine, who can take communion? Who can take it? The witnesses say the 144,000 can take it.
Right.
People say different things, all right? So let me show you. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11.
Now, was your question, who can take the bread and wine?
Right. Who can take it? Yep. Who can take the bread and wine?
Say that again.
Who can take the bread and wine?
I'm sorry.
Oh, the chapter. 1 Corinthians 11, verses 23 through 34.
I'll let y'all, I'll give y'all a chance to get there.
All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 23. For I have received of Yahweh that which also I deliver unto you, that the master, Yahweh Shai, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also after the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show Adonai's our master's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the master unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the master. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the master's body.
So, when you're doing that, it's not a party.
Right.
Right? So, we keep it Passover. All right, it's the Passover meal, commemorating the Most High passing over our houses in the land of Egypt, killing the firstborn of Egypt, letting our people go free. That's the Passover meal, right? But Yahweh Shai is the Passover lamb, the lamb that was killed back then, and the blood was put on the doorpost. His blood is representative of that now, right? So when we sin and we have an advocate with the Father, and the Father is looking like, my son died for them, he's seeing the blood, right? So it's something to take very seriously, and don't eat it and drink it unworthily. Don't come and be like, well, this is just a party, I like this wine, this bread tastes good. Like, that's a very serious issue. So he's saying, whoever eating and drinking it unworthily, right? So how do you know if you're worthy or not? If your heart is right and your heart is pure, to receive the Most High's truth and to receive the same way you do when you baptize, right? You want to turn your life over to the Most High to be baptized. You don't want to take communion unless your life is turned over to the Most High. You don't take the bread and the wine unless you know that you're serious about the Most High and the Most High's commandments. As long as you're serious, you're worthy, right? And you're willing to keep His commandments, you're willing to do whatever, the Most High is commanding us to do, then you are eating and drinking it worthily and not unworthy, right? But if you know your life is not right and you're not ready to get your life right, and you're taking the bread and wine, and then you go out the next day, and you know you're not going to keep the first and unleavened bread, you're not going to, keep the feast of unleavened bread, you're not going to do any stuff, you go back to the world and back to the streets the next day, you ate it and drank it unworthily. All right? So let's pick up where we left off.
Verse 30. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep.
For this cause, for taking that unworthily, many sleep, meaning they died. Many are sick among you, right? Because they took it unworthily. All right, keep going.
Verse 31. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged.
And that's what we should all do. Examine ourselves, look at ourselves in the mirror, and judge ourselves, then we don't have to be judged. If I judge myself first, to be like, wait a minute, I know I got this and that, and do it and get in line,
Right.
you don't have to be judged because you already got in line, right? So keep going out.
But when we are judged, we are chastened of the master, that we should not be condemned with the world. Wherefore, my brethren, when ye come together to eat, tarry, or wait one for another. Verse 34. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that ye come not together unto condemnation. And the rest will I set in order when I come.
So we say, if any man is hungry, this is not to come to just eat up all the bread and drink the wine. This is a very spiritual thing that we are recognizing that the Messiah is our Passover. Just like when that death angel seen that blood on the doorpost, he passed over that house, right? Because the Passover lamb was sacrificed for them people in that home. The same way in the spiritual sense, the same way in the judgment sense, where the Father's going to judge us, and He's going to see this person kept my commandments, this person believed on my Son that I sent for you, this person believed that He died for their sin, then He's going to see that blood because the Messiah is our advocate with the Father, our adversary. He's going to see that blood and say, you know what? I'm passing over you. You worthy of eternal life. I'll put your name in the book of life. It's the same thing. All right? So, that's who can take of the bread and wine. Go ahead, sister.
So what if you haven't been baptized? Since
You don't-
came into the truth.
You don't have to be baptized to take this bread and wine. You're going to be baptizing again when it gets warm. We're going to go back to the lake, and those that haven't been baptized, that want to be baptized, will be baptized.
But it's not a prerequisite for Passover.
Nope, not at all.
You know what I mean?
The church.
Yeah, that's what they used to do.
Okay, I didn't know. But no, that's not a prerequisite. We didn't read that. But we're going to read some more prerequisites for Passover. See, you know how the churches, they just make up their own stuff. We about to read some stuff that is a prerequisite for Passover.
I used to read the scripture every first Sunday.
Right. But it don't say nothing about baptizing.
We had, you know.
Right.
It just say taking it unworthily. You know what I mean? And being unworthy, it's all about your heart. The Most High judges our heart.
Yeah.
So,
I always have a question about that.
all right. Let's see where I want to go next. Let's just go to 1 John. Well, we don't have to go there. Never mind. Not 1 John. We're gonna go to this way as far as the bread and wine. All right. So we know that bread is unleavened bread. That's out the way. What was in that cup? Is everybody clear what we should drink on not on pack? When we take the bread and wine, what should we be drinking? Wine. Right. Should we be drinking water?
No.
There's a teaching out there that say you drink water. Is everybody clear we don't drink water? All right. Should we drink grape juice? We should drink wine. Real wine that's been fermented. All right. And the scripture on that is, go to Matthew 26 real quick. verses 26 through 29. Matthew chapter 26, verse 26 through 29.
The book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 26. And as they were eating, Yahweh took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom."
So what was in that cup? He identified it in the 29th verse as what? Fruit of the vine. So we know it's not water. All right, now we left with two different things. Was it wine or was it grape juice? Because both wine and grape juice come from what? A vine, fruit of the vine. Now we got to decide, well, which one is it? Was it fermented grapes or was it unfermented? Unfermented means grape juice, and fermented grapes mean wine. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and we're going to figure it out right here. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, we're going to read verse 20 through 26. Because remember, they kept doing this service. After the Messiah was gone, Paul was teaching the Gentiles that he was teaching to do this same service, to drink this wine with this unleavened bread in commemoration of Yahweh the Messiah, in commemoration of him dying for our sins and being our sacrifice and being our Passover and being our intercessor with the Father. So 1 Corinthians 11, verses 20 to 26.
When ye come together, therefore, in one place, this is not to eat Yahweh's Passover or Yahweh's supper. For in eating every one taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry, and another is drunken. What? Have ye not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise ye the church of Elohim, and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not. For I have received of the Master that which also I delivered unto you, that the Master Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. Verse 24. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me." After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, "This cup is a New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Master's death till he come."
So in these 6 verses, Paul is quoting from what the Messiah did in Matthew 26, right? And he's teaching the Gentiles in Corinth to do this same service, right? To eat this unleavened bread and drink this wine, right? But what is the key verse that we know what was in the cup? Because that's what he's talking about here. How do we know what was in the cup?
21.
Verse 21, exactly. Because 21 says what? For in eating everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry and another is drunken. So he's actually chastising the people in Corinth for getting drunk while they doing this service.
Right.
You can't get drunk off of grape juice, right? So they was doing it like this is a party, like give me some more wine type of stuff, and they got drunk, right? We just do a little bit to do that service, and then we go on, right, and enjoy our night in righteousness. But you can't get drunk off of grape juice. In order for them to get drunk, and he had to chastise them, and they came together for the sole purpose of what? What the scripture said, the Lord's Supper, meaning the bread and wine, represent the Messiah, you know what I mean, blood and body that is broken for us. And some was getting drunk, well, lets us know that the fruit of the vine that was in that cup was some type of thing that could get you drunk, i.e. wine. All right? It's just that simple. So now we know who can take communion, or who can take the bread and wine. We know what type of bread, and we know what we're drinking. All right, just a little bit of wine in representation of that, so we know what we drink. And now let's go to, I think, who cannot participate in the Passover now. Now, I'm not talking about the bread and wine, I'm talking about Passover. All right, so who knows? Passover. Who cannot eat the Passover meal?
Is it uncircumcised?
Right, uncircumcised. Uncircumcised in what? Flesh and heart. All right. So, and of course, the flesh part only deals with males. All right. Any male, whether they are of the seed of Israelite or of another nation that want to join unto us and keep our holy days that the Most High gave to us, they cannot keep Passover unless they are circumcised in flesh. So we say the law, we put it out there, let the people know, and this and that. But guess what? We don't check. Nobody check. So if you happen to, we just taking it on good faith. Right. And if you're not, then that's between you and the Most High. You ain't doing no checking.
So you pass to get the gates.
Right. But everybody will know the law ahead of time, right?
Right.
And it's never too late to get it. I know a brother that actually just got it a couple of years ago. He was like in his 30s. Yeah, want to get it out. He knew the scripture he read, he was like, yeah, I'm going to get it. So I know a brother that actually just did it like about 2 years ago. All right, so, but yeah, the scripture says, no uncircumcised flesh can eat of the Passover.
Is that even necessary though?
It's what necessary. So,
What he did?
what he did?
Yeah.
Yes, it's necessary because he wanted to grab hold more to the covenant of the Most High. He felt the conviction about it, so it will be necessary. Yeah. He definitely felt the conviction about it, so definitely. Because you can't help it what your parents did or did not do to you when you was a baby. You can't help that. The only thing you can do is make things right as you get older and of age and of knowledge to make the right decision. So yeah, definitely necessary. He an Israelite brother, and well, he wouldn't be able to keep the Passover. That's the command. You can't keep the Passover.
Okay. Wow.
All right, so anything else I want to bring up concerning this? The law. Oh, a few more laws. A couple more things. Unleavened bread. For 7 days, eat nothing with leaven in it for 7 days. All right. And again, those ingredients were leaven, yeast, baking soda, baking flour. For 7 days, you eat baking soda.
Baking powder.
Baking powder. You
Okay.
said baking flour.
Okay, so what is,
Leaven, yeast, baking powder,
And
and baking soda.
what is
Okay,
leaven?
so I was gonna say, what's baking
That's
flour?
the same thing. That mean they use like baking powder. They might have put some yeast in it.
What'd
It's
you say?
something to make it rise.
Leaven and agent.
So yeah,
kinda
that's
like everything.
included. So if you see leaven and agent on the ingredient, don't buy it.
No leaven and agent.
Okay.
So for 7 days. And also for these 7 days, real soon, we're gonna start, we bring food every Sabbath, we have a feast and this and that. I want everybody that's bringing stuff, everybody that's not bringing stuff, start to go through your ingredients cabinet now and start to look at these things that have leaven in it, which can't be in your house for 7 days during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And what you do is, you can bring that stuff next Sabbath, the Sabbath after that, whatever you make, like cake,
just
pies, whatever you make, use
get it
that
out.
ingredient so you don't waste it.
Mhm.
And you can bring that here to the Sabbath feast. Or you can eat it in your home, but have it out by that date, right? Because there should be no leaven in your houses for 7 days. And then every day during the 7 days, you eat unleavened bread. Just eat a little piece every day of unleavened bread. And then we'll get like, I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll figure it out. Maybe, it's not too hard to make. So, I don't know, we'll figure that part out. Go ahead, Bitter herbs. We've been using like endive is one. Ada, I need your help. More bitter herbs.
Endive, parsley, yeah, cilantro, dandelion is a bitter herb, and I think it's ironic because the dandelions come around that time. Usually, that's one of the signs that it's the new year when you start seeing the green ears, and that's a bitter herb also.
Is oregano considered a bitter herb?
It probably could.
I read that.
But yeah, dandelion is a bitter herb.
So you got those up?
I know parsley.
Okay.
What about mustard greens and turnip greens?
Really, those are, yep. I mean, if you talk thinking bitter herb,
What do you?
like I technically looked it up, like that's how I start having dandelion root was when we first learned about Passover, and I start looking at what is a bitter herb. I just start getting it because of that. But if a bitter herb is a bitter herb, you know. So the stuff that you know is bitter, are mustard greens, and those are definitely bitter.
All right. So all right. So again, 7 days, 11%. No 11 for 7 days. Have been out of your house, and you must eat unleavened bread every day for 7 days straight. Go work on the first and last day. So when we say out of your house, like I said, you have to start now. If you don't start now, it'll be not good. When they come up on you, you'll be wasting stuff and all type of stuff. You know what I mean? Some people just won't do it.
So I just gotta take out the cooking elements?
So yeah, tortilla chips, cereal.
Yeah, if you have a lot of stuff in boxes, you gotta look at every one of those boxes and ingredients.
Probably some of your natural toothpaste,
Toothpaste.
like your natural ones probably.
Like Arm & Hammer baking soda toothpaste?
Yeah, like
Gotta go.
because it probably got baking soda.
It's fine. So I gotta go do some cargo.
Yeah. Oh yes, maybe some of the deodorant.
That's right. But you live in a house divided, what you gonna do?
What's
Do the best you could
What's
do.
the best you can do?
Like
Yeah.
you live.
Also honor your king, honor that, where you at?
As long as you're doing what you can
Don't do it. Separate it from them.
do. Right. That's yeah.
So yeah, you can't control other people.
As long as you're doing what you're doing. They don't know.
That's what my dilemma's been. How long I've been? 2 years. I've got other people living in my house, and I also have a business in my house. And I pretty much, tell my parents don't bring no baked goods into my house during this time of year. I got a witness, so I'm fishing. And they look at me kind of crazy at first. She was on her way to the truth anyway. So I can't do it like a sweep, but I can definitely clear out my kitchen. And I can definitely not eat anything with leavening in it. But what about, how does, like the lotions and all this kind of stuff, I just use the stuff I
I
buy
say
from
control.
Hana until the 7 days is up.
I say control what you can control.
Usually it
You
It
do a
just
baking
seems so
soda
involved
yourself.
and tedious,
Hey,
Am I wrong in saying that?
It's, it definitely can be when you're new to it,
Okay.
but when you get used to it, a lot of times as you go on from year to year, some of this stuff become a lifestyle. And even the products that you use, which we kind of promote, becomes a lifestyle. Because when you start to use more natural products, then they don't have a lot of the things in them that we got to stay away from anyway. And that's why we started to actually make our own products, to make our own thing, our own deodorant, our own soap, our own shampoo, our own what else? Name the stuff. It's all type of stuff. There's people here sell and make that are great
The only
products.
thing that might be hard is the baking soda, because
The
baking
baking
soda
soda.
is helpful. Like that's a
Yeah,
natural
that's the
helpful
main
thing.
ingredient.
That's
You're
the
gonna
only
find it
thing.
in the natural stuff.
You can find
And you
baking soda
wouldn't
in
find
something.
it.
This is what I did years ago, right? And I think this is a suggestion for anybody that may have trouble with it. And then I'm gonna go to you since I know you got a question. It's like 7 days. It's like a fast almost, because you fasted from all this stuff have leaven in it. And so what I did one time, it's health benefits. She was just talking about all the health benefits of fasting. I I just did things where I didn't have to keep checking these ingredients, checking this and that. Just eat fruits, vegetables, and like nuts and grains and stuff, and unleavened bread for 7 days. And you'll probably find yourself way more healthier, way more. Even if you do that for 7 days, and you're not worried about all this unnatural stuff in this box, and all this meat, and all these ingredients, and what they season them with, all of that. You know what I mean? Eat fruit all day, and eat vegetables, rather cooked or raw vegetables, you know, and nuts and grain, raisins and stuff like that. And I mean, that's a real healthy thing. Then you can know that you're not eating none of it, none in your house, just for 7 days. After the 7 days, you can go back to, you know, whatever you want to go back to, according to the dietary law. So this is a suggestion. I did that before.
Can I give this stuff away to my neighbor, or am I doing my neighbor an injustice?
Is that neighbor an Israelite?
Should be.
Huh?
Should be.
That mean they are.
But they haven't accepted, but I can give it to my other neighbor that don't look like this, right?
Actually, we were just over here like briefly discussing. When you go to Exodus 13 real quick. Cause we know we just read in Exodus 12, it says, shall no leaven be found in your houses. Then it's gonna give you a whole another Hebrew word when we read over in Exodus 13. I know somebody had a question. Who was that? Yeah, I'll be all right. I got you after this. So. Exodus 13 and 7 says, unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days. There shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy quarters. So you go into that definition, it's talking about the territory, or your borders, right? Like the brother was just saying. When we was in the land, there was no exceptions to take it to here or there as far as a storage place. You had to get it completely out the land. But with us not being in the land, you know, it's good to take it to a place far off, such as a storage house, or like he was saying, like a factory. You know, if you work at a factory, you can take it back, you know what I mean, in the back or something like that, put it in a bag, dug it off, you know, and just come back to it. I think we did this maybe like 3 years ago.
First year coming into it, we took everything and put it. I was working at a radio station. We just threw it in the back.
Put it in the back.
I think somebody.
Because I know a lot of people, that's all they have in their house. Like when it comes to their kitchen and stuff, everything in their kitchen is full of leaven. So that's my suggestion.
So if the lower part of my house is a business, but I predominantly live in the top part of my house, and if I box it up in the lower part of my house, I can keep my.
It's still in your border.
It's still in your territory.
It's gotta be
Still on my
out.
territory.
That's
I would just try
So
to.
what about your car?
That's why.
It's still, well, if you
Your
park your
cars
car,
in
it's
your-
still in your territory.
There you go.
I'll be out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, in my case, because I live with 3 other people who aren't, like, people saying like that, so if I just take the stuff out of my side and do that, would that still
Oh,
be,
yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, definitely. Because you can't control their side. That's what they do.
Reiterate that for them again.
I was just
That's-
saying, like, in my situation, I live with 3 other people who aren't Hebrews, and so if I were to take everything that's living out of my area and kind of dispose of it, however, would that be, like,
That's when you gotta come through like Moses, when you see it and just throw the tablet.
yeah,
But in that sense, you can't.
They Gentile.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
That's all you can, because in your
Could they
situation.
keep her stuff on their side, since that's not, or do they count, because they
I
are.
was like, that
No,
sounds, yeah,
that
she got
stuff can't be nowhere near you.
That's still count.
wrap them on in.
Well, I would say it can't like, it can't be around any place that you have control of your court. If that's their area
Right,
and they have leaven there, you don't have control of that,
right.
you know.
but
if
what
it's
I'm saying
hers,
is
if it's
like she
hers.
got the cookies, like, could they keep her stuff for a week since that's their area, even though they all live in the same dorm? I'm just saying.
Oh,
Since they all live in the same dorm and get their own little space, that she can't have no leaven.
Oh, they keep it in their area, but
Would
yeah,
they
yeah.
keep her stuff in
Yeah,
their area?
because it's like this. It's almost like if you live in an apartment building and you live in apartment 1, but your neighbor in apartment 2,
Right.
your neighbor in apartment 2 not getting rid of all that stuff. You know what I mean? So you can only control your apartment 1, what come in and out of there. Don't have 11 in there for 7 days, right? So if you didn't get to use it up during this time, that's what I say, try to use it during this time. If you didn't, and you stored it in apartment 2, and apartment 2 wasn't a person that these commandments was given to, wasn't an Israelite, then it was just in their territory until 7 days, then it came back into your quarters or territory. Remember when we read in the scriptures when it said that, remember when the Messiah died and then it said the day of preparation? Y'all remember that? The day of preparation? This is what it was talking about because he died on the Passover and then the daylight time of the Passover was the preparation for the first day of unleavened bread. This is what they were doing. They were preparing, getting all the leaven out of their houses. And when we were in our own land, they actually not only got out of their houses, they got it, the whole nation got it totally out of the land of Israel, period. You need a whole preparation day for that. That's what the day of preparation, what everybody thinks the day of preparation was talking about Friday, preparing for the weekly Sabbath. It wasn't the weekly Sabbath. It was the Passover, the daylight portion of the Passover, was preparing for the first day of unleavened bread, getting all the leaven. That's what it was talking about.
Wow.
So sister, Emma Karen, is she good then?
I'm good.
About when she said, can she take it downstairs to the business?
Well, that's
What's the difference?
that's still your living quarters though. Like you still live downstairs. You know what I mean? Like still your house.
Not necessarily. I mean, my whole first floor is dedicated to daycare. Everything that I do, the only thing down there that I share with daycare is my kitchen. But I live upstairs, pretty much. But
you still go down there though.
yeah, but the kitchen, all the leaven is out of the kitchen.
Man, yeah,
Yeah,
that you would
I'm
still,
stuck like Chuck. It's all-
yeah, that would still be your territory.
Is it a lot of
Yeah,
stuff,
that would
like
still
where
be
it's
your
starting now, you wouldn't, you be
I
able to
actually
get
have
rid
a
of it?
tub, just saying that, anything with leaven in it is kept in that tub.
And that's a,
Got you,
When
operator.
it's time to go, I can just take the tub out. I'm learning year to year different ways to, keep it where I can get it, cause if you come, you say, go, I can grab my tub. I'm working on it, y'all just keep me in front.
Go ahead, operator.
Like, you all live in an apartment, right? So like, what if I got I got a couple other vehicles, what if I just put it in one of my vehicles?
That's still your problem.
That ain't even got to touch.
Yeah, that's still your
No,
problem.
no, oh, it got to be.
Your quarters, right. Quarters is like your problem. So
I
how
thought
to
it
do
was
it?
living.
Because it's like
I thought it was
this.
just living quarters. Can't you drive it to like his car to his, somebody else's house and park
Nah,
it?
that's his quarters, what he owns. That's like somebody putting their backyard in the shed,
Right.
their backyard in the garage, they detach from the house. That's still like considered your quarters.
What if I leave on one of my jobs?
Yeah, that's different. That's not your quarters. That's nothing that you have control of, nothing that you own. You know what I mean? But again, think about this. Think about what we're doing again. Think we're not supposed to eat anything leavened for 7 days, right? So that's what I'm saying. Get rid of it now. Next week, the week after, tomorrow, start using this stuff and getting rid of it now. And when you go to the grocery store, look at the ingredient and don't buy anymore. You see what I'm saying? And then when that time comes, you won't even have anything leaven in your house. So it's not really much or anything to get rid of at that time. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? So if you start it now, then it's like, okay, I don't have to put anything anywhere because I don't have these things anyway. But what you'll find is that if you do that, you're going to be eating a whole lot more healthy. Because it's going to be more fresh vegetables and fruits and real food, not all the stuff with ingredients in it of man-made things. Because most of the stuff with the leaven, and not all, most of the stuff is just stuff in boxes that's not too good for us anyway. Like we found that out just from doing it over the years, you know? So think about this. We are a strong and powerful people, right? The Most High give us these commands for a reason. He give us these things to do, not to be a burden, not to be anything. They all have spiritual insights and spiritual precepts. Leaven is representing having the sin out of your life. That's what leaven is representing. So look, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. If you cannot get, and I'm not talking. Okay, so if you cannot take the leaven out of your house for 7 days, you can't take the sin out of your life. It's harder to take the sin out of your life than to take the leaven out of your house. That's the lesson that we're supposed to be learning for this. Just prepare for it and just do it. Why? Because Yah said to do it. And our people have been doing it all throughout. You know what I mean? If you can't get leaven out of your house for 7 days, you can't get sin out of your life. Just that easy. Every temptation is going to drift you that way. You know what I mean? Whether whatever temptation it is, everybody deal with different things. All right? When you can do this and do this for 7 days, it don't matter if your first time doing it, your second time, or whatever, take the leaven out of your house, out of your quarters, anything that you own and have control of, your garage, your car, or whatever, just take it out for 7 days. You're not going to starve. Eat fruits. Eat vegetables. Go cook a big pot of greens.
You can still have pasta and everything.
Yeah. Get some pasta and some pasta sauce. Just all that box stuff, most of that stuff have it in it. All right, just avoid it for 7 days. You're going to be more healthier. You're going to obey the Most High Yah, and He's going to mark it in His book, you know, that you did what I commanded you to do, right? And then you're going to feel more spiritually powerful and uplifted, like I did that, what I thought was hard. The Most High's laws are not grievous. Just do it. And then when temptation comes after that, no matter what it may be, this sin comes in your way, or this temptation, or this comes, you like, get that out of here. Let me go pray. I'm not dealing with this. You know what I mean? You're able to fight these things off. These commandments are not, they're teaching us spiritual lessons. If you can take the leaven out, you can take the sin out. All throughout the book, sin is represented by leaven. Right? What does Scripture say? The leavened bread of malice and wickedness. The unleavened bread is called the bread of sincerity and truth. Just take it out. Let's not make any excuse. I know sometimes we do have different, like your dilemma, that's understandable. If you have children come over and your bottom part is a business, top part is something else, we'll talk a little more about that. But when it comes to other things, it's just doing it or not, let's just do it. You know? When you have control to do it, let's just do it. Go to the store and start looking up these ingredients. Because the more you look them up, the more you realize they're really trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us. That's the reason why we have our own products that we all should support.
Yeah, I'm good with the food portion. I did real good last year. I felt really good about myself. And I can take it another step further this year. The more I understand, the more I can commit to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it was praise y'all. But it's like the lotions and all that kind of stuff. That's not real good with the food part. So I gotta read.
You should be good with the lotion.
And we probably need to discuss about baking soda because like in the verses, it say get rid of the leaven, but it's telling us not to eat leavened bread. So, I mean, that's right. Don't eat any unleavened bread. But then we going far when we talk. We're saying don't eat stuff with the baking soda didn't cause toothpaste to leaven because baking soda is a leavening agent.
Right.
So it didn't cause
so
the
it needs
toothpaste to
something in
leaven.
order for it. It needs like a
To react
right.
to
Okay,
something to
Like
become a
vinegar or
leavening
something.
agent. So like toothpaste,
activate.
deodorant, like I don't know. I mean, to be safe, get rid of it, but it may not really be talking about all that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I do. I definitely do. We might have to just look deeper into it on break.
Like for sure, don't intake
He
it.
said,
Trust me, that's not on break looking into.
Yeah, it's not. It's,
We've
I've
been
been looking at it for every year.
That's a big controversy. We've been looking at that for like 20 years.
Let's start. Can we start?
It goes deep. It goes real deep. Like people go into science and all type of it's go real deep.
For real?
For real, that's real deep. Yeah. All right. Any questions concerning what we talked about so far? Concerning anything about the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which are coming up? What we need to do and not do concerning these two feasts. Then we're gonna get into as it come up more and more things. I just want to hit y'all with it now. So y'all got a whole month and a month and about a week or two before it comes. So everybody know we're gonna reiterate it. you know what I mean? We gotta support each other. We gonna get it going. It's not that hard. We've been doing it for a while. Every year, 7 days, right?
I just pray y'all's merciful as do folks. We just do the best we can. And each year we get stronger, we get better. And I believe that if you really try, he's gonna create a situation for you to be successful. Because you know in your heart, you really want to do what's right. You really want to be in obedience.
Right.
Thank
So nobody have anything about it? Everybody good on it? Know what to do? Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, with that unleavened bread thing for the week, do we gotta eat it or can we just be vegans for that?
Now you gotta eat it. Yeah, you must eat unleavened bread for 7 days.
So we gotta go out and grind to get unleavened.
You can make it.
Nah, we can make it.
Yeah, well, what we're gonna do is, we can do,
Flour or water.
yeah, but so certain thing we gotta make it where it's a good soft enough texture. We'll have like, I'm thinking we're gonna do this. Some of the sisters, she know how to make it. Teach other sisters how to make it. Your heart know how to make it. Teach other sisters how to make it. You different make it, like different sisters make it, right? And then instead of buying it for maybe brothers, whatever, that don't know how to make, our different sisters know how to make it. If you want to make it yourself, who don't know how to make it and who need some every day, you can just get it from, just buy it from, instead of buying from the store, buy it from the sisters that can make it. Everybody that make a whole bunch of it, and it'll be enough for, each household and everybody for the whole week. You know what I mean? And just buy from them, and you got a little bit to eat on each day. And that's how we do it. You just eat a little piece each day, and you fulfill the command. So, you can buy it from the store, but why buy it from them when we make our own stuff? It's better.
Do the bitter herbs and, well, not the Passover, but also the bitter herbs and stuff.
Not every day. The bitter herbs is only for just the Passover night. We eat that with the Passover meal, just that one day, or that one night. But the unleavened bread we eat for 7 days straight. Yeah.
If we know how to make bread, we could just bring in some of it like the week before Passover. And anybody who don't have any, just bring your cheesecloths.
Take
Like
some.
your bread and keep it moist.
Yeah. And keep it for the week and keep it,
You only have to eat a little bit, right? Just
Yep. Eat as little or as much as you want, as long as you eat some every day for 7 days until the feast is up.
I'm gonna buy some Bammy and call it a day.
Yep. Anything else? All right, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's kind of back up, but like with keeping the Passover, you said like brother you knew who was older, who got circumcised in like his 30s. I can't remember the exact like book and number, but I remember in the script that says for you to basically for us to inherit the promised land, we had to be circumcised within 8 days. So with that, it's like, all right. So what about for those of us like which we don't know what our parents did, wasn't like in the truth or whatever, but like for a brother like him, or some of us who might have not been circumcised in 8 days, like what does that mean as far as?
Because it got to be within the 8 days.
So basically, you're referring to Genesis chapter 17, which is the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. And the covenant was, he told Abraham to circumcise your sons at 8 days old. In turn, I will, number one, be your Elohim and give your descendants the land of Israel. Again, we can't help what our parents did. The only people I know in this room that's been circumcised at 8 days old is Shimei and Yoshiah. Like my son and his son. You know what I mean? Most of us wasn't circumcised at 8 days old because our parents didn't know about that truth. They circumcised you the day you born and give you a vitamin K shot. You know what I mean? And so, but once you, just like everything else, most of us didn't know the Sabbath day and we grew up not keeping. But once we learn, then we do better. You know what I mean? And that's the same case with that. So Abraham himself, his son Ishmael, he didn't circumcise him until Ishmael was 13. So it's like once the commandment came to him, then he did it. Abraham was circumcised at 99, I think, right?
Yeah.
So once the commandment came to him, then he did it. So that's the same boat that we in. Once we learn the truth, then we do it. We can't go back, you know what I mean, to 8 days. That's not really under our control. That was our parents. So the only thing we can do now, when you have a son, you make sure you circumcise at 8 days old. You know what I mean? When whoever have a son in here, we make sure they circumcise at 8 days old. Because this is the covenant from the Most High that we've been doing for thousands and thousands of years. And so on the medical part of that is what? If they circumcise your son at the first day, they're going to shoot him with a shot of vitamin K, which is going to make his blood clot, and then circumcise him, right? That's a lot of trauma for a 1 day-old baby. But if you wait till 8 days, your blood naturally clots because your vitamin K naturally kicks in your body, and then they circumcise them, and you don't need a vitamin K shot. So everything the Most High gave us was of understanding, and you know.
He is so amazing.
So yeah, so you know, if anybody having a child and they know it's gonna be a son, you know, we have a hookup to where we can get it done at 8 days old. You know.
And don't go to those fake Jews because they gonna try to make you take a pledge and do all type of stuff. Yeah,
Try to pray over your
try
baby.
to pray over your son and do some old wicked stuff.
And then they're gonna be funny with the prices.
Right.
They're gonna be like, well,
You not a Jew,
Yeah.
so we gonna charge you this.
they gonna make them.
He was like, I got this number that came in my head and it was the number 18. So I multiplied that by, I was like, nah, bro. Well, I multiply you by this and I'm gonna go to somebody else.
That's how you come up with the price.
Subtract you by this and multiply you by this.
All right, y'all. So anything else before we end it? Is everybody good? Passover, unleavened bread. Ooh, unleavened bread 7 days. No leaven for 7 days. All right. Well,
I said just reiterating what it's all about, like what you said before, the sin.
Oh yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that's powerful enough.
Yeah.
Like if you think about like you not being able to follow that specific command for 7 days, right? And because it's all about obedience to the Most High and removing sin.
And it's teaching us to control our flesh for 7 days. You want all them cakes and all that stuff? Control your flesh for 7 days. You know, that's what it's about. We're spiritual people. So what we gonna do now? You want something? Actually, let's rise for the elders now. Stretch your legs.
Yeah, it came back in too. Okay. So Israel now is going to go ahead and sign out. Until next time, we'll be back here at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, we say Shabbat Shalom and Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.